Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, we're going to do another episode of Bites and Nibbles with Breck today. Today we are going to make green chicken enchiladas. Now I know right off the bat that sounds gross. Green chicken? Yuck. But no, it isn't green chicken, it's using green enchilada sauce. Now, one other thing, this is going to be done partly in the Instant Pot, and it's actually in my Instant Pot recipe book, but I prefer to not call it an Instant Pot recipe unless you do the whole thing in the Instant Pot. And it turns out part of this is done in the oven. So while the part of it is done in the Instant Pot, it can be done elsewhere. So if you don't have an Instant Pot, this is something you can do. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Now, when I first consider a recipe, the first thing I do is look at it and say, do I think this is going to be really good, or is it at least something I want to try? And this looked really, really good because everything in it looked really good. And to be honest with you, Mexican food is my favorite type of ethnic food, so anything Mexican food with the right ingredients is going to be a good start. So here are our ingredients. First off, we're going to use some chicken breasts. Now the recipe actually calls for 3 medium-sized chicken breasts, and I went to the grocery store a couple days ago and picked up some meat to restock the freezer, and they had these absolutely massive chicken breasts. They're almost like turkey breasts. They're so big. So I'm not going to use 3 chicken breasts. I'm only going to use 2, but they're 2 absolutely massive chicken breasts. So we're going to go on with that. We're going to have some enchilada sauce, a little Monterey Jack cheese, some chicken broth, some corn tortillas, salt and pepper, some onions, garlic, and sour cream. Is your mouth watering yet? Mine is. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is shred our chicken. Now I've done a little bit of prep work. I've chopped up my onion. I've mixed out some salt and pepper. I chopped up the chicken breast into smaller chunks, because basically what we're going to do is we're going to cook it to the point where we can shred it really easily. I've also prepared my garlic and my chicken broth. Now the recipe calls for about a cup of chicken broth. Since I have a little larger Instant Pot, I'm going to use a little bit more. But basically what we're going to do is going to pour the chicken broth into the Instant Pot. We're going to put the chicken in. We're going to coat it with the onions, the salt and pepper, and the garlic. I'm putting a little bit more garlic in than usual because I like garlic. And I'm just going to kind of mix everything up a little bit, kind of get everything distributed around here. And I think we're about ready to go there. I'm going to put the lid on, lock it down. We're going to go into pressure cook mode. We're going to set the timer for 7 minutes at high pressure, and we're going to let it do its thing. Now, as I said before, this isn't really an Instant Pot recipe per se, because my definition of an Instant Pot recipe is one where the entire recipe is done in the Instant Pot. A lot of this is going to be done in the oven, and in fact the one part that is done in the Instant Pot could be done on a stove, and it's really simple to do. Basically, you get a pot of water, you put the chicken in, you cover it up with about 1 inch of water so the chicken's underwater. You bring it to a boil, you let it simmer for 8 to 12 minutes, and then you bring it out and you shred it, and you're going to shred it just the same way we do it. So, like I said, I'm doing it in the Instant Pot, but this isn't an official Instant Pot recipe, and you can do it the other way if you want. Alright, my 7 minutes are up, and we are going to quick release. And when the little pink button drops, your pressure has been safely released. You can now open the lid. As usual, watch out for the steam coming out of this, because there's going to be a lot of it. There always is. And there's our chicken, ready for the next step. Now, I've actually used my steamer basket from the Instant Pot to separate the chicken and the broth. Because we don't want the broth in there, we just want the chicken. The chicken's got to be cooked. So there's a lot of ways to shred chicken, but I'm actually kind of fond of just doing it in the mixer here. and I've been known to do that before. You can shred it with a fork. I've been known to put it in the food processor, but I like using it in the mixer because you can get it shredded really nicely, and it's pretty easy to do. So we're just going to shred the chicken now, and we're going to let it do its thing for a few minutes here until we get it all nice and shredded. Alright, a couple minutes have gone by now. My chicken is nice and shredded. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a half a cup of my green enchilada sauce. That's just going to give it a little bit more liquid and kind of make it a little bit moister. I'm also going to throw in about a half a cup of sour cream. I'm just kind of eyeballing that, so. And that's going to make up for the contents inside of the corn tortillas. So we're going to let that mix for another minute or so, but that's starting to look pretty good, isn't it? Now the recipe actually says if you want, you can season it with salt and pepper too. I'm not going to really do that. There was salt and pepper mixed in when the chicken was cooked, so I'm not going to put any more in there. You can if you want. Now next we're going to stuff the tortillas with our chicken mixture and our cheese. They actually recommend putting the tortillas in the microwave a little bit to soften them up to make them pliable, but these are really pliable already, so I'm not going to mess around with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple tablespoons, maybe a little bit more, into each one of these. And we're going to sprinkle it with a little bit of cheese because you want to have some cheese on this. And then we're going to roll it up. And we're going to place it in a 9x13 casserole dish with the seam down. And I'm just going to do that over and over again now until I've stuffed all of my corn tortillas. Oven at 375 degrees. The recipe actually says to do that right after the chicken comes out of the Instant Pot, but it takes a little bit longer to do a recipe when you're also vlogging it, so I'm going to do it now. And while the oven is heating up, I'm going to just put some of the cheese, the leftover Monterey Jack cheese, over the top of this. And we're also going to coat it with the rest of our enchilada sauce. So pour the enchilada sauce over. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. I'm using a little bit more enchilada sauce. The recipe calls for about 20 ounces. I'm going to actually use about 30 ounces. And I think I'm glad I did, because that's going to give me a little bit more flavor here, a little bit more of the sauce over it, and that's what's going to make this really good. Yeah, that's about right. I'm going to use my basting brush just to kind of smooth everything around here a little bit, and then this is about ready to go into the oven. Kind of spread everything all over the place so we got every bit of it coated here. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, I think that pretty much covers that. And now before I put it in the oven, I've covered it with foil because we don't want it to dry out too much. Now I'm just going to wait for the oven to heat up. We're going to throw this in and we're going to cook it for 15 minutes. Then we're going to pull it out a little bit. We're going to take the foil off and cook it for about 10 minutes longer just to get everything cheesy and melty and ready to go. Alright, the oven has hit the magic temperature of 375. We are going to put our casserole dish inside, and like I said, we're going to cook it for 15 minutes. See you in 15 minutes. Alright, 15 minutes have passed. We're going to pull the aluminum foil off and we're going to cook it a little bit longer. Now, I didn't really talk about this before. I wanted a little bit more cheese in it, so I put a Mexican blend cheese on top of it. So that's why you got a little bit of an orange color on the top. We're going to put this back in the oven for between 5 and 10 minutes just to let it get nice and bubbly and cheesy. Alright, the second stage of cooking is completed. I ended up letting it go for about 10 minutes just because I put a little bit more enchilada sauce in there. And so I wanted to give it enough time to get thoroughly cooked. I'm actually glad I did put the extra enchilada sauce in there. If I'd only done the 20 ounces instead of 30 ounces, I don't think it would have covered up the tortillas as well. We're going to let this sit for just a minute to kind of let it cool off a little bit. Then we're going to dish it up and give it its taste test. I wish you could smell this. Alright, it's taste test time. I'll tell you, I'm expecting this is going to be fantastic because it just smells really good. Now, I got some good hot sauce out here that we're going to add to this, but I want to give it a taste test by itself first just to see what we're dealing with. But I can tell already this is going to be fantastic. Yeah, really good. Like I said, definitely needs the hot sauce. And I kind of knew that because the enchilada sauce that I got was the mild enchilada sauce, and so I knew it wasn't going to be, you know, that much, didn't have that much of a bite. It's very mild, and if you're not into really spicy stuff like I am, you know, you go with this is going to be great for you. But like I said, it needs help, so give it a little bit of flavor here, and I think we're good to go here. This is a good hot sauce if you're into that. Yeah, very good. That's exactly what it needed. It's got the nice little bite. I might, in the future, because I do like a little bit more flavor, I might put jalapenos on top of it too, just to give it a little bit more flavor. But this is really good. I highly recommend this one. I'm going to put it in the recipe. Check it out. I'm going to put it in the comments section below. Check it out if you're interested. And until then, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit.